Okay, I'm going to attempt to do the notes today by video because there are half my class missing today, and I don't want to fall behind. So we're just going to go right to law number 4. And law number 4 is the product of two or more numbers. The product, what's product mean again? Multiplication answer. The product of two or more numbers in brackets to an exponent can have the exponent given to each number. Now this is confusing, I know that. That's the law. And then I'll give you an example, and that'll clarify the whole thing. You're like, oh, I get it. I don't get the word form question of it, but I definitely get the example. Yes, Riley? Okay, what in the name of gravy does that mean? Well, let's just look at an example. I'll give you an example. So if I had 2 times 3 to the exponent of 3. So there's the product of two or more numbers in brackets put to an exponent outside the brackets. Given to each number. So what this essentially means, if I did it in repeated multiplication, it would mean 2 times 3, that's technically, because it's in brackets to an exponent, technically, that whole thing is the base if I want to think of it in repeated multiplication. So 2 times 3, because it's being cubed, we're going to multiply that by itself 3 times. So essentially, that's what 2 times 3 cubed means. That makes sense to everybody, right? Because if you think of it in brackets, we said anything defined by brackets is a base. That makes sense because there's a weird base. It's really 6 as a base, but we're going to think of it as 2 times 3 as a base, and it's cubed, so we're going to multiply by itself 3 times. And remember what we said before. If you are multiplying numbers together, the order in which you multiply does not affect its product, correct? So if I had 2 times 3 times 4, remember that example we gave yesterday, I could do 4 times 2 times 3, or 3 times 4 times 2, or 2 times 3 times 4, and every time I got the number 24. The same thing is true with this. Because I am multiplying those 6 numbers together, I can, in theory, because of the associative property, rearrange it to look like this. And we would agree that no, that's still going to be the same answer, right? If we understand the associative property, and we understand that if I multiplied 6 numbers together, and if I rearrange them any way I want, the product will still remain true. It'll still be the same number. It'll still be the same answer. And when I think of it this way, what this really means is I can think of this question right here. I can think of it as this, right? And if I wanted to define the law again, I'll show you what it looks like. It means when you have the product of 2 numbers to an exponent, you can give that exponent to each of the numbers in the brackets that are being multiplied by each other. And you can declare it to be this. Okay? You can. I sure can. Oh, yeah. Okay. And I'll press pause for a second. So basically, instead of writing it this way, according to Law 4, I can write it that way. Now let's see if this is true. Let's see if this is true. Let's simplify both of these again. Lincoln, you are really, really, really hoping to die today. I can see that. So let's think about, if I said 2 times 3 cubed, what did I really mean by that? What's the base really, Riley? If I said 2 times 3 cubed, what's the base? Instead of saying 2 times 3, what could I have said instead? 6, right? Would you agree that should be the same thing, right? Agreed? Instead of saying 2 times 3 cubed, I could say 6 cubed, because 2 times 3 is 6. And if I take my calculator and say, calculator, do me a favor, what is 6xy cubed in standard form? Oh, that's the wrong number. Hold on. 6xy 3. It says that 6 times 6 times 6 is 260. Now, if this is true and that I can allocate that again, if I simplify the other side, which apparently is equal because we said it's equal, what's 2 cubed in standard form? Riley, what's 2 cubed in standard form? 2 times 2 times 2. You can do that. 2 times 2 times 2. You just got it. And what's 3 times 3 times 3, or 3 cubed? Jordan, do you remember that one? 3 times 3, 9, 27. Does anyone want to guess, before I use a calculator, what is 8 times 27? No? No, without a calculator. Look at the board. If the answer's there, just tell me. What is 8 times 27? 216. 216. Let's just double check. Grab our calculator. So 8 times 27 is 216. Okay? So that's just an example of how the law works and how it's that's kind of neat. You're looking at it going, that's really cool. I never thought of it that way. So if you think of it this question as just being 6 cubed, that makes sense why we would think of it that way, because I could simplify. If I was doing bed math, simplify your brackets, get 6, then use your exponent of 3. 6 cubed is 216. Or if I use law, I can distribute them to each of the product numbers, change it to standard form, and I'd still get the same answer. Okay? Hang on. Okay, I want you to try this question now. I want you to do it 2 ways. I want you to do it with bed math, meaning simplify the brackets first, be in your brackets, then do exponents, and see what you get for an answer, show your work. And then I want you to use law number 4, simplify it, and see if you get the same answer. Okay, I'll validate your work if you want. So here we go. So the first thing said, if you use bed math, what would this be? Well, bed math would say do your brackets first. So I have brackets here. I have the product of 3 numbers. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times 1 is 10. So I simplify my brackets first. I'd end up with 10 cubed. And 10 cubed, we've already done 3 times now. Put a 1 with 3 zeros. Your standard form using bed math would be 1,000. If I took this question and used the law, I would export the 3, the exponent of 3, to each number in the product, giving me 2 cubed times 5 cubed times 1 cubed. Correct? 2 cubed times 5 cubed times 1 cubed. Riley, I've asked you already to see if you got it again. What's 2 cubed? 8 is good. Can you do 5 cubed in your head? Try. Jojo, what's 5 cubed? Nope, that's 5 times 3. Close. Go ahead, Lincoln. Thank you, sir. You're now out of the doghouse. And what's 1 cubed? 1 is correct. So if I say, what is 8 times 125 times 1, I could grab a calculator, but I already know what it's going to be because the answer's already there, isn't it? The answer is 1,000, because they should be the same answer. And if I go 8 times 125, am I wrong? 8 times 125 times 1, the answer is 1,000. So we have the same answer twice.